Hello and welcome to the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast. This is episode 85, the Optics Special. On this show, we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else the gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your host, Ryan Cross from the Firearms Radio Network, your source for broadcasts for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. Today, I am back in the saddle. I just moved, but not quite unpacked. I'll be unpacking for probably months, but I'm here with TJ, my faithful companion. How's it going, man?
Hey Ryan, I'm doing pretty good. Glad to see you're all set up and you finally got cable, even though it's Comcast.
Yeah. Well, that's my only other option. You know, we had Quest, which got bought out by CenturyLink, but they could only do 1.5 megabytes was the fastest they can get, and that just wasn't cutting it. So finally, I had to make a deal with the devil and give Comcast a call and get some Xfinity in here. But I did some speed tests over the last couple of days, and it seems to be averaging about 55, 45 megabytes per second, even using Wi-Fi. So if anything wrong happens with the episode, I can blame them and not blame myself. So that's awesome.
Yep.
Should be good. Should be rip roaring. But yeah, other than that, I did launch a new company with Jake Challand, the president of the Firearms Radio Network. So, kind of after SHOT Show, there was a lot of patch trading going on the floor. And the whole flight home, I was thinking about, oh man, what if I designed some sweet patches and sold them? So, of course, I'm not really much into the business side and, sales tax and distribution and all that. I'm just more into the design side. Well, lo and behold, our faithful leader, Jake, was having the same idea. So Jake texted me and said, hey, you want to start a patch company? So we did. It's called Patriot Patch Co. You can check out the website at www.patriotpatch.co. That's not .com, but .co. And we've got our first patch design for pre-order. It's I'm Your Huckleberry, which is a tombstone themed with Doc Holliday holding out his revolver. It's custom patch crafted by yours truly. I designed it myself. So you guys can go over to the website and pre-order that now. And then you can also get like the Gun Guy Radio patch that I did a while ago. That's available on the website. And there'll be lots of cool patches available here soon. So I'm going to keep plugging that, and you should definitely check it out. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't think I did it any justice last week trying to describe it because I got the news about 5 minutes before the show. But yeah, it's pretty cool that you guys started that up.
Yeah, I mean, I think on the plane ride home from Vegas, I must have did like 50 to 100 concepts of patch ideas. Military theme, more of the traditional morale, and then like some crude ones that luckily Jake, family man, he doesn't really go for the crude ones. So I don't know if those will ever make it past the sketch phase. And then some pop culture ones, seeing if we can get some public domain and get some things in there that'll really sit well with my generation and older. Screw the millennials. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to do any Justin Bieber patches, that's for sure. Unless it's ironic.
What you need is a bad MFer patch.
Yeah. Well, just send them ideas over, and we'll see if they're worth their salt. But right now, we're just trying to get enough pre-order on the first one to let us know that, yes, this is viable. Lots of people are interested in this. We've already had lots of feedback on Facebook wanting people wanting patches for their other favorite shows on the network, like AR-15 podcast, Reloading podcast, the handgun with Ram and Chad. So we'll be getting probably to those, but we're just kind of hoping to get a lot of positive feedback and, more importantly, pre-orders on this first one, so we can just start funding the dream. So you'll see me at the next shows with all sorts of cool patches to kind of trade around. But anyway, other than that, what's that?
You're gonna walk around Vegas with a trench coat and have all your patches lining it, and you just hey, you want some patches?
Hey man, you want to see something good? You want to see something cool?
Now, most of the listeners probably won't know this, but it adds a little bit to the aesthetic of that you were just scratching your neck as you said that.
Yeah, I did that on purpose. But I didn't really get to do. Actually, you know what? I lied. I did get to do something in guns this week. Of course, I'll ask you first. What did you do in guns? Now that I remember.
Yeah, I did. Surprisingly, I actually did something. I know I don't. A lot of times, I'm just kind of like, oh, I didn't do much. But this week, I actually did a few things. The first thing I did is I finally got a rear sight for my AR that I built about August or so. I had that see all open sight on there, and it's a pretty decent sight. It's just not quite what I wanted for my AR. So I finally just got a Magpul flip up rear sight to just replace that. And Friday, this past Friday, I went and built a folding shooting table, and basically it's a sheet of plywood that's got the little, kind of the L-shaped notch for you to rest your rifle, and then they have these sawhorse legs, I guess you could say, like a portable sawhorse on Amazon, and it's a pair of two legs. They're maybe like 40, I think it was $42, and it was prime shipping for the two pair of legs, and you just screw them to really anything. And so that's what I did. I just cut out the top and then screwed these two folding legs, and it's like a steel tubing. So they're pretty lightweight, and I haven't weighed it yet, but the table's not terribly heavy. Heavy enough to be stable, but not it's not 100 pounds to try to lug around. It's basically a 2x3 piece of plywood and a 1x6 or a 2x6 and these two little steel tubing legs. So it's not very heavy. I'll throw some pictures in the show notes in there. And yeah, I didn't really have any plans for it. I just kind of winged it. So I'm sure if somebody sees my idea, they can expand upon it. But then
Nice.
yesterday, what I actually did was I was thinking about selling my Smith & Wesson 66 that I had bought the same week that you got your 686, and it's just a little impractical for a carry gun for me. So I was just thinking about selling it and seeing what I could get out of it. And so I ended up talking to Matt. He's a pretty frequent guest over on the Handgun Radio, and I know he's got his orphanage for wayward Smith & Wesson revolvers. So I contacted him, and he bought it from me, and I ordered a shield with the money that I got from that. So I'm looking forward to being a new shield owner.
Nice. Can't go wrong there.
Yep.
Well, I'd moved right into town. Saturday was the last time we brought our load over, and one of my best friends since really elementary school, he knew that I was gonna kind of have withdrawal symptoms from leaving the gun mecca that I lived in before and moving into Western Washington, which is a little bit more of closer to enemy lines. So he took me to the mountains to do some shooting, like straight away, like the next day. So he took a 6-year-old son who he's trying to kind of teach the fundamentals and let him shoot. He's got I like a Mossberg Plinkster 22. It's a little bit big for him, but just to understand the fundamentals of gun safety. And then I received a rifle to review. I'm actually reviewing a WGM Tactical AR-15. It's the serial number on that is 001. It's the first one that they busted out. So it's kind of an interesting. Of course, that's California compliant because they are out of California, Grass Valley. So that's kind of a bummer. It's got a bullet button on there. It came with hex mags that had 10-round limiters in there. So that was a little bit. I didn't want to bother trying to dismantle that stuff just for me because it's not my rifle, but trying to put a high enough round count on that bad boy with a bullet button and 10-round mags. Could have brought some 30-round PMags, but they were still packed up. So it's just kind of. I only brought 3 guns that day, and they didn't want me cleaning that one, so I thought it'd work out pretty good. So it was a long day of shooting 5.56 through that gun. I liked it a lot. So
more mag changes than shooting.
Yeah, more mag changes than shooting. I pretty much had a 1 bullet like tucked into my glove at all times. I did get a cool idea for a product though. Is you take a tack nail and you put it through the end of the index finger of just a glove. Have a point on your index finger that might be a good idea. might be just too bubba for most guys.
I think I've seen bracelets and rings and all kind of stuff that they make to
really haven't done a lot of. I just knew I wanted one, so I bought one maybe like a year ago, and it only put like maybe half a dozen rounds through it. So I got to shoot that more, which was amazing. Can't beat a Mosin. And then the good old Smith & Wesson 686 plus that, we were Smith & Wesson brothers until I heard that recent news, TJ.
Well, I'll still have a Smith & Wesson.
Well, yeah, but those were the guns that we bought so close in the same time.
Well, you just need to buy a shield and we'll be even.
Yeah, well, I like my M&P compact better. I've got kind of meatier hands, and I like the double stack magazine, and I can count to 10 better than I can count to 7 or 6. So
7 or 8.
Yeah, one of those numbers. So let's get right into the products this week. We're going to talk about all things optics. I just kind of picked a handful of scopes and red dots and holographic sights to talk about. Some are new, some are maybe not so new. But I just thought it'd be good to cover an optics specific episode. Of course, TJ, he had a little bit of reservations, so I made sure that instead of talking about some really expensive Night Force stuff that would maybe be over his head, and to be honest, way over my head as well, we're going to talk about a budget red dot from Tasco. So if you don't have the hundreds of dollars that some of these scopes cost, just stick around and you'll hear about something from Tasco that might be more in your budget range. So first up, we got the Seymour Systems STS2. So Seymour red dots are kind of more synonymous with like 3-gun and US IPSC and all those competitive pistol matches. So they actually put out a micro red dot. The STS2 stands for Small Tactical Sight, 2 being the Generation 2. So it's their smallest reflex sight that they offer, and it mounts onto your pistol or onto, let's see, it looks like I'm looking at just pictures of it mounted onto slide cut handguns like Glock 19s and stuff.
Yeah, it looks like that's all they're showing it on, but I would imagine they have mounts to, riser mounts to put it on rifles and such.
Yeah, mounting kits are sold separately, so you should be able to put it on a Picatinny or a Weaver mount.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, a heads-up display with a bright red dot that's available in 3 or 6 MOA. It's got a removable battery tray. The lens is made out of glass, not plastic. The body's aluminum. The nicest thing about it is the buttons on the side are a little bit, I would say, better than some of the other red dots buttons I've seen. It's kind of like buttons on an appliance in your kitchen. There's an up and a down, but it's kind of flush covered with that material. So you don't have like cracks that like dirt and debris and moisture can get inside the body of the sight through the sides of the buttons. So it's really nice, and that makes it water resistant up to 1 meter. So if you drop your pistol in a puddle, the sight's going to be good to go.
Yeah. They, like you said, they're kind of flush. They're kind of recessed, I guess, to where you're not accidentally hitting buttons, because I've heard that as a problem on some of the other small sights. There's just not much room to put buttons, so they end up getting somewhere where they get hit a lot. But this one looks to be set a little under it to where you can still get to it, but it's not, putting it in your case isn't going to activate it, I wouldn't imagine. The battery, I noticed too, it runs off of a 2032 battery, which is a crazy common battery. So that's pretty neat that it's just kind of that standard like half-inch tablet battery that kind of like looks about like a quarter, I guess, or a nickel. And so it runs off of that. Pretty cool.
I've got more of those batteries than anything else, just because everything else seems to run off them.
Yeah. It's also got just noticed on the back here of the sight, it has like a lockout, I guess, if you want to keep from, a lot of, like I kind of mentioned a second ago, that if you throw it in your case and accidentally hit a button and turns it on and it's on for days, and then you come back to it and it's dead. Well, this has a lockout, so if you're not planning on using it, you could just, it looks like it might be a little Allen screw, so you might need a tool to lock it out, but you just twist this little screw and it turns it off for without having to worry about accidentally turning it on.
Well, I mean, I don't mean to correct you, but being familiar with some red dot sites, that might be a lock to prevent the site from coming off of 0.
Ah, okay. Well, never mind then.
Because it does have an automatic off feature after 8 hours of inactivity, meaning that it obviously hasn't been turned off, but the brightness hasn't been adjusted either.
Okay.
So yeah, that's for like when you set the 0, you can then put your Allen key in there and lock it so that it doesn't come off 0.
Okay, that makes sense. I just saw the little lock dial on the back and assumed that's what I get for not looking at the show notes well enough.
No, it's okay. I mean, that was a good guess, but I only know because I've had a couple micro red dots in the past, and some of them had that, some of them didn't. But
okay.
So it does looks like it comes with a protective sight cover, a 10-position manually operated push button intensity switch. So those buttons that go up and down, you got 10 positions of intensity to adjust that. It only comes in black, unlike the Doctor sights. Those came in lots of cool colors. This is only in black. But it does look pretty interesting. The MSRP is $399. So kind of right there, competitive with some of those other big name micro red dots. But this might be more up your alley if you're concerned about weather. If you're shooting in like Oregon, and then there's lots of rain, and you want to be able to shoot your match in the rain and not worry about your electronics getting buggered up.
Yep.
Let's see. Battery life for normal use, it ranges from 300 to 1500 hours depending on the setting. So yeah, like I said, there's a 3 MOA model and a 6 MOA model, so you just got to make sure that you get the right one. If you want a bigger dot for faster shooting close up, or a smaller dot for maybe more precise, slower shooting.
Yeah, now this is a little interesting. I just wanted to compare the MSRP to what they're actually selling for on Amazon. They're $320, but it's kind of interesting to me that they have, maybe they just made their product page wrong, but it says 3.5 and 7 MOA rather than the 3 and 6.
Oh, that's weird.
It might just be whoever made the Amazon page didn't put it in right or something.
Yeah. So then they do have lots of different mounting options, for like both Colt 1911s, Glocks, wide slots, Glock narrow, Beretta 92, Weaver Picatinny, the J-point mount, and the Doctor mount. So they, depending on if you've already got like a rig set up with a specific mount, this might just fit right on that. So if you're interested, go on over to C More, that's the letter C, more.com, and then look for the STS2 under products. So next up, our friends at Brownells actually did a kind of a collaboration with EOTech to produce a kind of exclusive holographic sight. So this is the Brownells EOTech CQB T-Dot holographic sight. So it's got an MSRP of $549.99. It is offered exclusively through Brownells, like the name would imply. Battery life is 600 hours at the highest setting, which it goes to 12. Mounts Picatinny, just like every other EOTech, it's got the side adjustments for windage and elevation with 1/2 MOA per click. So that'd be 1/2 inch at 100 yards per click. It's got 20 brightness settings. It's kind of the shorter model because of the batteries. It takes 123 lithium batteries. It's actually one battery, not multiple. So that gives you the shorter profile. That's where they get the CQB in the name. A lot of guys like running this with a magnifier behind it because it doesn't have that truncated battery housing in front of it. You can kind of seat it out to the very edge of the end of your upper receiver before it hits the handguard, and then you have room in the rear to put your magnifier and maybe even like a fold down, flip up rear sight underneath that. But the reticle is what they're kind of more proud of. It's the T-dot reticle. And so that is, it's got like a T-dot and a circle. So you'll be able to, it still keeps the EOTech's infamous 65 MOA circle that most of the common ones have. But it's got 2 aiming points calibrated for 50 yards and 200 yards and 500 yards. So you'll be able to have this thing zeroed for 50, and then if you need to take any shots at longer ranges, 2 to 5, you've got the bottom of the T for some more precise aiming points. So I know that's kind of a nice thing for some guys might want to even have for competitions too.
Yeah, I had actually looked at this optic before, and it's pretty interesting. Though I guess if more people are probably more familiar with the EXPS reticle, I think by them that one seems to be pretty common. And I think what they did here is they took that exact reticle and just changed it a little bit exclusively for Brownells. And kind of like Ryan said, you have your 1 center dot, which I think is that the 50-yard zero?
Yeah, that would be the 50
and then
yard.
You have your 200 yard, and then which is below it, so you hold a little higher. And then the T dot, I think, is specifically for shooting at something like 7 yards or something like that, because it's a whole lot closer. Now the T would be like the bottom, if you're familiar with the EXPS or any of the EOTechs, really, how they have the circle with the 4 hashes at each quadrant, and at the bottom you have your hash, but rather than just being circle, it breaks right there and it's a T. So I guess that's kind of, if that's coming through well in audio, kind of weird to explain. So you'll just have to go look at the notes to definitely get a good look of it. I think if I were to get an EOTech, which I'm not decided on what kind of red dot optic I want yet, but I think this would be it, because it just seems crazy versatile.
Yeah, thanks for correcting me on that, because now that I was looking for a picture of the reticle, because it's been a week since I looked at it. I was trying to explain it based on memory, but now that I'm looking at it and hearing what you said, I'm like, oh yeah, TJ's right on this one. So like, I don't know, it makes more sense for me in archery, but I mean, you can have a 20-yard pin, or you, like this, for instance, you have your center dot, which is zeroed at 50 yards. But when you get up to 7, I mean, you've got that bore axis, or in archery terms, that, shaft axis. I don't know if that's a word, but basically you need to lift your muzzle way high in order to hit what you're aiming at. So that's what that T at the bottom of that 65 MOA circle does. I guess it's the shape of a T, so you can just, aim it at a torso. And, is that why they chose a T? Because it...
I don't know, because like I said, the other model is just like it's a circle with the line coming out the bottom, but this one, it breaks away from it. I guess maybe it gives you a little more of a crosshair kind of style, rather than having to look for that one hash. You're looking for more of a cross, I guess. Maybe I'm not entirely sure.
And a lot of people might be thinking, well, for 7 yards, why don't you just point shoot? I have shot a 3-gun competition where I actually, I sucked, but I sucked more because I thought, 7-yard target, just cardboard silhouette, I'm gonna point shoot. Don't, because you'll be surprised how much you could miss at 7 yards if you're not really using proper aiming techniques. Just holding out their Rambo style.
Yeah, I think this would be really good for. I've never shot a 3-gun competition, but I know some of them can get out to, kind of standard ranges, 50 to 100, and then they kind of 2 to 3 stretch out there, and obviously, like you said, real close up. So this would probably be a pretty versatile optic without having to switch back and forth from magnifications to get done what you want to do.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, I think I like this design a lot better than the 512 or the 516, where it's just got that elongated front for those 2 batteries.
Yeah,
that's
for the
double A and whatnot.
2 AA's. Yeah, the thing's about 6 inches long.
Yeah. So just like all the other EOTechs out there, it's sealed, non-magnified optics that are fog-proof, shadow-resistant, and anti-glare coated. the measurements, it's 3.5 inches long by 2.4 inches wide, and it's only 2.8 high, weighs 11.2 ounces. You've got a range of 40 MOA adjustment for your windage and elevation, and like I said, 20 brightness settings. So it seems to be a pretty awesome sight. EOTechs are great. And it's nice to see that Brownells put their name on this and kind of made it a little bit more specific for. They call it their dream guns. If you guys don't get the Brownells catalogs, but they kind of put together like the dream gun. That's kind of purposely built for one purpose. So I guess this would go on. I got this issue and they had it sitting on a Tavor, which is definitely a dream gun. So yeah, you can actually look at the product page and then click on that little yellow dream guns, and then it'll drop down. You can click on the Tavor, which is the bottom one, and it'll show you a picture of it on a Tavor with a micro red dot behind it. That is sexy. Anyway, you guys want to check that out?
They have this and a micro red dot?
What's that?
You said they have this and a micro red dot on the same rifle?
No. Did I say? Oh. I thought I said magnifier.
Maybe no, you said micro. You threw me off.
Oh, no. I'm sorry.
Magnifier. Okay. That makes more sense. Yeah, I can see this really shining with a magnifier because, like I said a minute ago, it's already calibrated to, 50 and 200 yards. You throw the magnifier on if you're wanting to shoot 200 and past, and then you can take it off if you're in a room, I suppose. I guess that's why they call it the CQB, because of that bottom reticles for across the room distances.
Yep. So the next one we got, this is actually more of a traditional scope, but actually how I came across it, I was looking see if scope manufacturers starting to put out more reticles specifically suited for the 300 blackout. And I know like Nikon put out their P300 or M300 that has a blackout reticle, so it's got supersonic and subsonic subtensions on the reticle itself. I was just kind of looking around to see who else was doing it, so I came across the Leupold Mark IV MR/T 1.5 to 5 20 millimeter blackout. They do have they say 20 millimeter, but I think it's a 30 millimeter objective lens and 20 millimeter tube. Am I getting that right?
Well, your objective is the front lens.
Oh, eyepiece. Sorry, eyepiece.
Yeah. So the objective is usually the tube side, or the front lens is the objective, and being that this one's the same size as the tube, it would be a 20, but the eyepiece is bigger than 20.
Yeah. So it's kind of more of a traditional, or actually non-traditional AR-15 scope. In that it's kind of more set up for being shorter in profile and not having a big old objective bell on the end of it. So this is specifically for the 300 blackout. The reticle is really simple. It kind of reminds me of a ACOG reticle on some of them. It's got like a horseshoe, an inverted horseshoe with a dot in the middle, and that's obviously going to be your 0. But then it's got going down for your elevation on the left side of the reticle, it's got your subsonic subtensions, and then on the right side on the left side of that lower line, it's got subsonic. On the right side of that lower line, it's got supersonic. So that way, no matter what you're really shooting, you just kind of base yourself on the dashes on one half of that line. If that makes sense over the radio.
Yeah, it does, but it may be because I'm looking at it as well. But it's split on either side, whether you have subsonic or supersonic. So that's pretty neat. I would have honestly never really thought about that, but that's a pretty cool feature that they add that in there rather than having it set to subsonic only or supersonic only.
Yeah, because sometimes you want to switch it up. Sometimes you're wanting to use your suppressor. Sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're wanting to shoot supersonic ammunition through your suppressor. So that matters a great deal. Subsonic ammunition drops like a stone. It's incredible the difference at 100 yards. If you zero, like if I zero my 308 with like supersonic ammo, be zeroed at 100, I'll pop in some subsonic and it'll be like way low, like 28 minutes of angle low or more.
Yeah, well, the weight difference is what, a good 60 or so grains, right? Between
Yeah,
the
you've got
subsonic
this.
115s and then the subsonics, what, closer to 180s, right?
Yeah, or even 200s and 220s. So you got the weight difference, but also the speed difference. A lot of people don't realize that it's just your points of impact are going to be drastically different. So it's nice to have a reticle that facilitates that. What I'm kind of concerned about, I guess it's really barrel dependent, is I noticed that the weight and I guess manufacturer of the specific bullet that you're shooting might pitch left or right more because how it engages the rifling.
Hmm.
So sometimes, at least with my 300 blackout, which is being sent back to Remington, I'm not going to talk about that on the air, but um, but when I shoot subsonics, they go, I think, more left. Even though I've zeroed with supersonics at 100, when I pop in subs, they are dropping predictably, but they're also going left too. And I think that's just how the rifling kind of throws it out of the barrel.
That's
So
interesting.
it's incredibly frustrating, but interesting at the same time.
I guess it's stabilizing it differently, being that they're probably way different shapes, I would imagine.
Yeah. And then when you get like Spitzer, boat tail, round nose, there's a lot of variants involved.
I just
But
realized, kind of scanning through the description, the reticle. I was looking at the reticle, and there's a picture of a tortoise on one side and a picture of a hare on the other one. I'm kind of like, what the heck is that for? And then reading the description, it's actually the tortoise is for the subsonic for slow ammo, and the hare is for supersonic for faster ammo. So they got a little clever way of letting you know which side to look at.
yep. So yeah, and then the that inverted horseshoe has some kind of moving targets readings on the left and right side. So it's got it's got a line on the left and right side. And that line has 3 dashes on it, and that's to stand for 5 miles per hour, 10 miles per hour, and 15 miles per hour. So either you're basically, if you're going for like a rutting coyote and you can make a fairing, that kind of gives you your holdover for that. So yeah, the subsonic goes in 50-yard increments. So your first dash down, which has a number 1 by it, will be 100 yards. Your next dash down is going to be 150. Then the one below that is going to have a number 2 by it, and that'll be 200 yards. So pretty self-explanatory. It goes all the way down to a dash that says 4, and that's for 400 yards. The right side, those go in 100-yard increments. So obviously your center dot is going to be your 100-yard zero, and then the very just shy south of that dot, the very top of that bottom line is going to be your 200 yard, and then it goes to 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way down to 900 yards. I would be extremely interested to see someone reviewing this scope, or if Loophole is hearing this and they want to give me a shot at it, someone shooting 900 yards with the 300 blackout, because I've never seen anyone get any kind of positive feedback shooting that round that far.
Yeah,
I don't even supersonic. I don't. It's going way slower than a 308. So I'm just thinking about the stabilization and it just getting there without running out of gas.
yeah, it's kind of quoted. It's kind of like a 200 or 300 max range cartridge, right?
Right. So I mean, you would be dropping them in there, at a very high angle and a very low foot pound energy. So still, it'd be cool to ring steel at 900 yards with a 3-ounce blackout.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of similar to the Soviets putting 2,000 meters on their Mosin-Nagant.
Well, yeah, those are for shooting down planes, obviously, though. So yeah, the MSRP on this is $1,749.99. So that is a little pricey. But if you want to have something that's going to really be at home at your 300 blackout and specialize so that you are hopefully more accurate, this would be it. Does look like it does have an illuminated reticle as well. That horseshoe and dot look like they glow.
Yeah, definitely. Just the center circle glows, like all the other markings don't glow, it appears.
Yeah.
Now, kind of cool. It's interesting that it's a 1.5 to 5, 1.5 to 5, rather than a 1 to 4, 1 to 5, 1 to 6 that we were used to seeing. But from what I've heard, a lot of people say that most of the the 1x scopes aren't truly one anyway. So maybe Leupold's just being a little more truthful and calling it a 1.5 since it's not a true one. They're being a little more truthful and calling it a 1.5.
Yeah.
So Mark IV MRT.
Definitely a second focal plane, not a first focal plane. Just at the complexity of the reticle, you wouldn't want that getting any smaller.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still pretty cool.
Yep.
So if you go on over to Leupold's website, and then you can look for that under their Mark IV series. So now we're going to get to something a little bit more wallet friendly. This is the Tasco ProPoint 1x32 red dot, and I added this specifically for TJ. But actually, it's actually kind of an interesting. Obviously, it's a budget scope, even though it is over $100 MSRP. But it's kind of that similar patrol style that Aimpoint kind of made more famous. Is that you just use a single scope ring to clamp it to your Picatinny rail, so you get to choose whether you have if you wanted to put like a tall or medium or a low on there for your if you wanted to do a co-witness or whatever kind of style rifle or shotgun that you wanted to put this on. Heck, even like a revolver, this wouldn't be too bad on either. What do you think about it, TJ? I lost you. Did you bump something?
Oh, have my mute on. Sorry about that.
There you go. No problem.
It's got that Aimpoint Pro style, but obviously, it's a Tasco, so it's going to be a fair bit less expensive. I believe the MSRP is $150, and but it is, like you said, that single mount, which I think is pretty cool. Rather than having to take up so much real estate to put two scope rings on there, you just have one, and you can kind of, I guess, a little more adjustable where you can put it, I guess. And I know, Tasco might not have the best reputation, so I'm kind of curious to see how it holds up. But if you are just getting into a red dot, and then, or you just, you're just blinking with it and you don't feel like spending a whole ton of money, it'd probably be a good option to at least try out, And of course, being a single, no magnification, it's got unlimited eye relief. You don't have to worry about where it's at. It's got a 5 MOA dot and a 30 millimeter tube. I'm trying to figure out, they don't have a whole ton of specs on their website. I'm trying to figure out if it comes with a mount or not.
I think it might come with the one.
Yeah, I imagine
pictured.
For the price, it probably does come with the mount. Let's see.
So, did we mention what battery it runs off of?
Oh, no, I didn't. Let me see.
Of course, it doesn't say that readily either. But I was just wondering, in comparison, let's see here. CR 2032. So
Okay.
once again, that common battery that everyone's got in their junk drawer.
Yeah, it's pretty relatively inexpensive battery, and they're small and good. So it weighs 8 ounces. It's 5 1/4 inches long. It only comes in the black finish. I think I mentioned illuminated 5 MOA dot. Rubicon multi-fully coated lens. Not sure exactly what that means, but I know my little $20-$30 Tasco red dot that I have sitting right here next to me has a red lens. So whatever that does, I guess it's probably the same coating.
Yeah, and looks like it does come with that ring for Weaver or Picatinny style. It says
Okay.
rings in plural, so I think it might come for Weaver specific and Picatinny specific.
It's interesting.
And let's see, your field of view at 100 yards is going to be 52 feet. So if you're doing a budget build, maybe for a kid, if you got like a 22 long rifle AR-15, one of those like M&Ps that are really affordable, you can probably find at Walmart. This would be a good little scope for that. If they've proved that they're competent enough with iron sights. Of course, you don't want to just throw a red dot on there to be tactical dad and then not have them learn any of the fundamentals. So
let's see. I'm just kind of browsing the reviews, and it's very mixed. There's a bunch of 1 stars and a couple 5 stars. So it's just kind of mixed, but about 2.7 out of 5 stars on Amazon average.
From what I'm seeing, like I kind of expected the price point to be lower because for the same amount of money, you can get like the Vortex Strikefire, and it's basically similar. Of course, it's not as compact. So if real estate on your rail is what you're concerned about, Strikefire is going to be quite a bit longer, but it's obviously a higher quality optic, but it's for the same price point, $150.
Yeah, and even then, for honestly, I think less than this, you can get one of the Bushnells, and I've heard pretty good things about the like the TSR 25 or TRS 25s. I think those are $80, and they seem to have pretty good reviews for being a budget optic, and that's like a micro red dot style rather than that kind of patrol rifle optic style. But still, have heard good things.
So I mean, if this was like on the Walmart shelf and you were out with your kid or maybe your loved one that's not like a serious gunny and they just want something easier for them to shoot with, this might be kind of more of an impulse buy off the shelf. If I saw it for like 50, 60, maybe 75, 80 at the max, I don't know if I would fork over $150 for this.
Yeah, they're 100 on Amazon if that gives you a roundabout.
Yeah, that's a little better. I mean, yeah, it comes with the scope caps, but I've had like True Glow red dots, that weren't the patrol style. They had the little like 3/8, 5/8 dovetail mount on with those big old thumb screws, but basically does the same thing. And I think I got that for $50. So anyway, it might be up your alley, it might not. But at least you can't complain that we didn't bring you something that was under $200 to look at. So you're welcome. We actually, because I've been moving, I don't have a review. I am working on some reviews though. So that, like I said, that WGM AR-15, I'm working on a review on that right now. Some bags, maybe some optics when I get them in the mail here this week. So anyway, stay tuned for those in the future. You can check out all my other reviews on there if you feel like you've been deprived this week. I've done plenty on the Firearms Insider website. You can go ahead and peruse the archive there. So let's get right into the Tech Gadget app. This is a spotting scope from SIG. So we're not just talking about rifle scopes and red dots today. I wanted to throw in something that someone was looking for, a spotting scope for like hunting or just, spying on your ex-girlfriend. This would actually fit pretty well because it's so small, and that was a joke, obviously. So the SIG Victor 3 is it's got optic stabilization technology built into it, and that's why we're talking about it in the Tech Gadget or App segment. So that actually helps counter unwanted vibration and shaking for a dead smooth and steady image. So whether your body's shaking, you've got the heavy wind that are kind of buffeting you, you're on the ocean water and you've got the waves kind of rocking you back and forth, or maybe your heart's pounding because you're looking at the biggest buck you've ever seen in your life. Supposedly this spotting scope is supposed to counteract all that shaking around and give you a more stable image. So it allows you to also pack it into it's a kind of a compact system, so you should be able to put it in maybe like a jacket pocket or a smaller bag. So there's a couple different magnification ranges. There's a 6 to 12 by 25 millimeter, and there's a 10 to 20 by 30 millimeter. Those are the Victor 3s. And there's actually a Victor 5 that's 15 by 45 with a 65 millimeter. And that's like rated HD with some really high quality prisms in there instead of the image stabilization. So we're just going to be talking about the Victor 3. It's really difficult for me to get some more specs on this little scope. I downloaded their SIG's catalog to look at it, and it actually didn't give me all that much more information. So I guess you'll have to take a look on their website. They don't have all that much either. Specifications are subject to change, so unfortunately I wasn't able to give you guys more juicy details on the technology behind it. The outside style of it, it's kind of similar to all their new electro optics that kind of have unique angles and shapes that look like, little B-2 stealth bomber. So it's
that was the first thing I thought when I saw it, kind of a stealth bomber looking. So I guess, like you mentioned, if you are spying on your girlfriend,
if she's got her radar, this might not be activated. But I guess that outside, just like their other scopes, is kind of a ruggedized polymer rubber type composite that should be able to take a beating and not really wear as much as just anodized aluminum. So the MSRP on that I actually didn't find all that well. So.
I found it looks like Natchez Shooter Supply has them on their website, and it just says out of stock. So I'm assuming they have them up there, but they're not for sale yet. But for $599.99, that just happened to be the first one I saw. So,
and that's the 10 by 20.
Yes, the let me double check because I just got off the page. 10 to 20 by 30. Yeah.
So it looks like a really interesting little spotting scope that's kind of breaks the standard of what they usually look like and how long they are. So it'd be kind of interesting to see how well it stacks up against its more conventional counterparts.
Well, that's kind of interesting. I just found another one. Red Dot Tactical is the name of the website, reddot-tactical.com, and it's $492, so it's almost $100 cheaper. And so maybe Natchez had the MSRP, and this one has what they're actually going to be selling them for, maybe, because they're both out of stock. So I'm assuming they're not quite released yet.
Right. Yeah, and there's no additional information available on any of their sites so far. So it's kind of still a little hush-hush as far as the details haven't come out quite yet. It's got this captivating narrative on, what it can do, but it doesn't really have the specs yet to really put me at ease.
Yeah. Guess we'll just have to keep an eye on it.
Yep. I'll definitely be looking for it. So that's the products this week. We don't really have any new listener feedback. We didn't have any reviews on iTunes in the whole month of May, which either means two things. Nobody has anything bad to say about us, and people who have good things to say typically don't leave reviews, or our entire listener base has already left a review and there's no one left to write reviews. And I don't believe in any one of those are true. So leave us an iTunes review. I should have maybe some incentive, a little carrot for you guys in the next month or so. We'll give something away to help encourage you to leave us a review, because it helps the show get higher ranking in the iTunes search. Also wanted to make sure you guys know about the Firearms Radio Network EDC giveaway, or what did you call it last week? The
Extraordinary Daily Carry, I think, is the name.
There we go. Extraordinary Daily Carry. So giving away a Car P9 and some awesome, also some other items from the sponsors of the giveaway. So Car Arms, Alien Gear, Key Bar, Hellbent Holsters, Precision Ear, Easy to See Targets, Cantu Brunner Designs, which makes those cool pens, Wazoo Survival Gear, and LA Police Gear. So all you got to do is be a Patreon or a patron using Patreon of one of our 4 campaigns, one for the main network, Gun Guy Radio, This Week in Guns, and We Like Shooting. So you just got to kind of do that once, or 3 of those are per episode, and the Firearms monthly patron. If you don't want to give us any of your money, that's okay. You can go to this page, and there's a form where you can leave us your name, email, phone number, and a testimonial on how the Firearms Radio Network has affected your life. So you can do that, not give us any money, and be entered to win this awesome package. And you have until the end of this month, June 30th, to do it. So definitely make sure you get on that. So yep, just wrapping up. Send questions or comments to podcast@firearmsinsider.tv or myself, cross@firearmsradio.tv. Remember to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review. Check out all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network at firearmsradio.tv/iTunes. And be sure to visit the Firearms Insider for reviews and more industry coverage. And to add one more thing, the cherry on top, make sure you visit patriotpatch.co to check out some of these awesome custom PVC Moral patches that me and Jake Challenger are putting out.
Yep, I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of designs you guys have coming in the future.
Yep, absolutely. And if you have a company and you want to commission us to put your brand, your logo on a patch and have it unique, not something cookie cutter, we can definitely help you out with that too. So anyway, thanks for joining me, TJ. It was a good show. I feel like we talked about a lot of scopes, and I need to hide my checkbook for a while because some of those look pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
So as always, guys, shoot safe. I'll see you on the next episode, and have a great week.
All right, see you, Ryan.
Yep, see ya.